Ryan Hill.
Hello.
Yep, he's with the Crowe Street Brewing Company, or
Yeah, Crowe Street Brewing Club. Yeah, I live on Crowe Street.
Yeah.
We started this brew club pretty much like 3 years ago, and it's pretty much a social club. It's me making beer and everybody helping out as best they can, kind of thing. So we're going to be making two styles today: Goldwooding North American Wheat Ale. And a French Saison that we will be blending with an apple cider, so like an apple Saison of sorts. So,
cool.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, like I say, we've been to craft breweries, we've seen the end result, and we've seen sort of the industrial size vats, etc. But we've never actually seen the recipe and the actual making of the beer. And as you can see on the table here, we've got some ingredients that we're going to be watching Ryan put into this. Whatever it's called.
Mash tuns.
That's right. And so we see the whole thing.
Okay, sounds good.
Looks like a kettle to me.
Yeah. It can be called that for sure.
So without further ado, I guess we'll start doing that.
Okay, sounds great.
Great. Cool. Downstairs drinking some beer, making some beer,
yes,
which is kind of fun.
Of course.
And it was an opportunity to kind of see how beer is made. You've been doing it now for how long?
About 12 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long has this crew been doing this sort of at
About
this
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing full grain batches for the last 3 years. I've been brewing for the last 12 years.
Okay. And when we talked before, you were saying that sort of your goal to a large extent is to potentially open up your own craft brewery. Is that still kind of what you'd like to do?
Totally, yeah. And my ideas and options are still like wide open. I have no it's very broad. It's still a dream to be able to come up with the recipes and see that product available for public consumption. How that happens, whether through Phantom Brewing, contract brewing, nano brewing, pico brewing, kind of like what I'm doing right now, just through my beer club. It's definitely still a passion of mine, and something that I would love still to see come to fruition. However that may be, whether it be a small lounge, whether it be a big brewery, not too sure. We'll kind of see where the universe takes me.
So at this point in time, then, there really isn't sort of a vision in terms of...
There is a vision, yeah, there is a vision for sure, but I am still open for opportunities and ideas. The vision itself would be a lounge, like a beer, coffee, small eats kind of lounge.
Cool.
A place, a destination, a place with a theme that people would want to go to and hang out. You start small system, and then you can just expand kind of there. And a lot of breweries are doing that right now. They're starting small and they're expanding from there. But I definitely think the destination location is key. Someplace that people want to go to given the demographics.
Now, one of the things, I've read a few things lately. One, there was, I think in the Growler or someplace where there was a survey done, and a couple of questions asked were, have we reached the saturation point in terms of small breweries, that kind of thing? And there was even an article today in the paper regarding one of their garden places, Wim Van, what's the premier's name? Van der Zand.
Oh, okay.
He was saying that because they've got women's clothing in some of the places now. He said, maybe I'll open a craft brewery.
Okay.
So it seems to be the thing to do.
Sure.
But how would you differentiate yourself? Would it be because you think yourself as having a location or a destination kind of place with?
I think a lot of consumers these days are really getting to know the brewers and the personalities of the brewers and the ideas and the concepts behind brewing and community and that kind of thing too. So I think what I have and what I can share with other people is in and of itself unique, because we are unique as brewers and as people. And I do think that even just from like the fun and passion aspect, you know, if you put it out there, you would hope that people would want it and like it and want to continue consuming it. So, yeah. So.
But you really do have to find a niche. I think you have to differentiate yourself from other people.
Yeah.
So having sort of a eats and that kind of stuff, do you think that's kind of a...
So a big part of my other background and passion is fitness and wellness.
Okay.
So being a physiotherapist, having done a few Ironman and still training for ultramarathons these days, I would love to do something a little bit more combined and more connected to the fitness and enthusiast kind of like community. So be that, you know, triathlon, be that ultra distance, be that even starting your own, like some breweries have their own runs and that kind of thing too. So just to bring that different aspect and style to the scene, I think is a little untapped, and at the same time, you can't force it. And I think if you still have a passion for it, like myself and my brewing partner, my training partner, I think there might be a following to that, perhaps.
Well, yeah, you're right, because I mean, you're tapping into two things in Vancouver: fitness and beer.
Yeah.
Kind of go well together. And I remember seeing I think in Colorado or Denver or something like that, there's a running shoe store that has a craft brewery attached to it.
Totally, yeah.
So you know, like you kind of get into that. So something like that could.
Yeah, you know, I always play around with the ideas, you know, because being a physiotherapist and you know, and a beer enthusiast. You know, different combining two passions. You know, having a back room, you know, having a brewery and like a lounge on back room where I can, you know, do some treatment and that kind of stuff, and call it liquid therapy or fluid motion or, you know, something around those lines. It's definitely, you know, something I play around with and joke around with my colleagues and some clients. But I definitely think you know, I still have the passion and the drive to do it, and you know, and even if anything doesn't come to be, I'm still going to be making beer and having fun and hanging out and spreading the love essentially of craft beers.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because certainly it was a lot of fun downstairs.
Oh, cool.
Drinking beer and, you know, chatting and socializing with all the people down
Awesome.
there.
So yeah, and to me that's really what it's all about. And
Yeah.
if we can make that more available to, you know, a wider audience or a wider demographic, that would just make me that much more happy. So.
Now, just to kind of close it off, have you looked into sort of both the financial aspect and the sort of the governmental regulations that are required to get into this industry?
Absolutely. My business partner is he's got his MBA. He's very, very detail oriented, much more I would say than myself in terms of business. And he was definitely the driving force behind developing a proposal, which we've done in meticulous detail. Like it's pretty much, if we had the money and the time, we would open up in a snap. And so it's just a matter of finding that time and that money. And it's kind of interesting just seeing all the other breweries opening up and seeing kind of like the trials and tribulations and their own like issues and problems and problem solving and coming out of that and just kind of learning from that as well. And maybe holding back a bit too, and just kind of see what happens with the market. Just because in both our lives, it might not be the most opportune time, or might not make the most sense to like give up our jobs and kind of pursue the dream, which you know may or may not kind of like come out. But it'd still be an amazing experience. But still, we got mortgages and mouths to feed.
Now, one of the things that I've noticed, and Gary and I have noticed in terms of the industry, and especially in Vancouver, is the collaborative nature of it.
Totally.
People helping each other. So have you noticed that, and do you think you'd be able to tap into that if you opened up your own place?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, you know, I've been part of like the Van Brewers, which are like BC's largest like homebrew association, and they meet at the end of every Thursday at Big Rock actually. And their community, and you know, from that group, we saw like Callister open up. And they were a community brewery where they allow other people to come in. Yeah, exactly, right? And that's new of its kind and super cool. And I think, you know, I haven't spoken to these people at great length, but you know, there's definitely that community aspect and wanting to essentially like share. Like, there's no reason why they can't just make their own beer themselves and, you know, make the profits themselves. But it's just like having an avenue for other people who don't have the revenue to pay for the equipment and the rent and that kind of stuff, and just have it all in front of you, and to pursue that passion, even if you're not going to make a whole lot of money off of it, I think is super cool. And we've contacted those people. You know, it's part of our budget. It's plan E or whatever it is. So I told you, like, we got plan A, B, C, D, all the way up to G, and definitely that community brewing or contract brewing was definitely a part of it. Fanta Brewing, another part of it. You know, starting super small, starting super big, and like so we have researched it all. We know exactly what we'd be getting into, It's the time commitment for sure. It's an over full time. It's a double full time job
Right.
to get it off the ground, for the most part.
But if it's something you love,
Oh, totally, absolutely. Right.
then it's not like work at all then.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, for sure. But yeah, so
Sounds
something
cool.
to. It's still in the back. It's in the back burner for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.